transfer portal update. And YouTube, I want to give a big shout out to Greg Schiano and his coaching staff. Did a classy thing, but obviously I saw it coming. I was ready for it, and I was pretty impressed by the way they went about it. And what I'm talking about here is they let Gavin Wimsatt know he's not winning the quarterback battle. They told Gavin Wimsatt, you're not our starting quarterback. Get the hell out of here. Then they gave him the option to leave, and this is important because he could then enter the transfer portal. He's not a grad transfer. So he found out he didn't win the quarterback battle, and he left. Okay? So for 2 years now, I've been talking about Rutgers needing a quarterback. I don't know if you're aware of this, I don't know if you guys follow the channel or not, but on TikTok, over a year ago, I made this video and I talked about 3 teams that needed a quarterback. This was a year ago. I talked about 3 teams. The number 1 team in this video was Auburn. And then in the middle of the video, I start talking about Rutgers. Let's hear what I had to say. There's some other teams that I'm looking at and I'm like, they need a quarterback. Another team is Rutgers. You're going to look at Gavin Wimsatt here. He's the starting quarterback on the depth chart, supposedly. And then you have Noah Vedral here. So Vedral or Vedral, however you want to say it, he's a transfer. He was at Nebraska. He was at Central Florida. No matter where he's at, not very good. And if you go back to the depth chart, they even have Evan Simon here. And the reason I have to show you all 3 is because Rutgers let all 3 play to figure it out. And it was some of the worst quarterback play in the entire country. Rutgers might have had the worst offense in 2022. You look at them, these 3 quarterbacks, nobody over 1,000 yards, combined for 1,800 yards. If this was a quarterback stat line down here, you would just, I don't know what you would say about this guy. But he's not it, right? Everybody was in the negative touchdown to interception ratio. It was atrocious. At the same time, their leading rusher. So I went on to tell you it was atrocious. I was really expecting Rutgers to sign a quarterback before last season. They didn't. They had Gavin Wimsatt. That's who they went with. And anyone who tells you anything, like if you read online or you check Twitter, they're going to tell you former 4-star quarterback Gavin Wimsatt. He looks the part. You see him down here stiff-arming somebody. He's tall. He's 6'3", a dual threat and all this. Bro, he cannot throw this ball. Less than a 50% completion percentage. Literally has no touch. Cannot throw this ball. Intermediate. Doesn't know what he's doing. Just it explodes out of his hand all the wrong ways. I'm sure he looked hella good at camps. I'm sure he looked amazing in t-shirt and shorts. Tested really well. But when it comes down to playing the game of football, this is one of the very worst quarterbacks in America. I know they just told me he's going to be signing with Kentucky or Kentucky's interested. These people don't know what they're doing. These people have no clue what they're doing. This is not a real quarterback at all. He needs to transition to tight end or coaching or something. This is not an FBS level quarterback. So I say that. I recognize this young man wasn't good for years, and Rutgers still didn't sign a new quarterback. They signed Kirk Soraka as the new offensive coordinator. He's the new offensive coordinator, but he's been the offensive coordinator back in the early 2000s when Rutgers was good. That guy, Tom Savage, yeah, that guy was the offensive coordinator, and he just came over from Minnesota. And that's so important because I made many TikTok videos. If you search Rico Knows and you search Rico Knows Rutgers, you're going to find videos of me talking about the quarterback position. You're going to find me talking about Athan Kaliak-Manis signing with Rutgers. Do I think Athan Kaliak-Manis is any good? No, I don't. Okay? He's not very good, but he's better than Gavin Wimsatt, that's for damn sure, and he's familiar with the offense. So a Minnesota quarterback transferring in, following his old offensive coordinator, right? He and his brother showed up, but following his old offensive coordinator, getting in the system, and they realize, yeah, this guy's a little more precise, has accuracy, has a good understanding of the offensive schemes and stuff. We're going to rock with this dude. And I've always told you guys, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1. Meaning you don't have a locker room. Your locker room is going to be split if you have 2 guys that are capable of starting. So what Rutgers did was they just pulled off the Band-Aid. And they said, nope, we're going to go with our starter. You're on the bench. Go jump in the portal. You're free to leave. And that's important because now the whole team has to rally behind only Kaliak-Manis. So you put all your eggs in one basket. By the way, I think it's the right basket. Okay? But more importantly, in this day and age of the transfer portal, they could have very easily lied to these young men. Greg Schiano could have lied and said, we're going to do a quarterback battle all the way through spring. We don't know who the starter's going to be. That's what Jim Harbaugh did to keep his quarterback depth 2 years ago. That's what Ohio State did last year. Coaches are lying to the players when they know deep down inside who the starter's going to be. And I've talked about this at length in my videos on TikTok. I call it out the minute I see it. I'm like, no, Ohio State's lying. They already know who their starter is. It's going to be McCord. And everybody attacked me. Oh, no, it's Devin Brown. I have word. It's Devin Brown. I have an inside source with the university. Some dude who does a podcast for Ohio State was talking about it, and I was like, dude, I don't give a shit what he says. I went and watched the tape. Kyle McCord's way better. They're not playing that Brown kid. And what happened? Kyle McCord really won the job. They just didn't want to tell him until they were that far in. The same thing happened with Michigan. That's what they did with JJ and Cade, and they left these guys in limbo all summer long. And here you have Rutgers. They didn't do that. And there's no need to. Gavin Wimsatt is actually not a good quarterback, and he shouldn't be there. Now, all the coaches, all the recruiters, they dare not get it wrong. They dare not try to assess the tape themselves. They just go off the recruiting websites. They just go off the high school rankings. They're like, what? That guy's a former 4-star. He's athletic. He's got all the right tools. I already had somebody on Twitter write to me and say, this man, Gavin Wimsatt, was a 4-star player. He was a 4-star quarterback because he has the right blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, shut up. He can't complete a pass. 44% completion percentage his freshman year? That's not an accident, bro. That's intentional. He literally, man, go back to the spring game. Look at this. He's never had more than 50% completion percentage. It's all in the 40s. 42, 44, 47. This is consistently terrible. Consistently the worst quarterback in America. And you guys say he's being talked about somewhere. He's going somewhere. Kentucky wants. No, dude. No. No team that wants a man that throws like he can't throw the ball. No. He better go. Who's that guy who went right? He better turn into a running back. Who was it? Who did it? Who turned it to Quinnen? Jaquinton Jackson Johnson. What's his name, bro? It doesn't matter. The running back from Utah just transferred to Arkansas. Jaquinton Jackson, out of Texas, was a quarterback out of high school. Bro, he throws better than Gavin Wimsatt. Wimsatt's gross. We're talking about how many career attempts at this point? 320, 420, over 450 attempts in his life, and still not over 50%. It's gross. Yeah, shout out to Greg Schiano, though, being a classy guy, telling the truth to these kids and letting them know, these players, this adult, hey, you're not it. You're not built for this. You're not going to be our team's quarterback. I like the honesty. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I called this shit for 2 years now.